If you are using social login inside your iOS app, you are required to use Sign In with Apple also. I'm Alex from Rebeloper.com, and today we are going to build out this application where you will be able to sign in with Apple and also Firebase. So let's open up XCODE and let's dive in. So let's learn sign in with Apple and with Firebase. So I have already prepared a demo project. It's right over here. And basically we have a continue with Apple button with this nice pizza logo. And if we tap on there, we will be asked to, do we want to sign in? Yes, let's continue right over there. And we are taken right into the app. We will also be able to log out by tapping on the logout button, and that's it. I know it's pretty simple, but under the hood, there's a lot to be learned. And if you do want to learn more about Firebase or SwiftUI in general, go ahead and check out rebeloper.com/mentoring, where you can meet me on a 60-minute Zoom call, one-on-one Zoom call, where I can teach you Firebase or SwiftUI in general. Go ahead and check out rebeloper.com/mentoring. So what I have done for this tutorial is I have prepared kind of a demo starter project right over here. And you can take a look at the resources down below. There's a link for that. And basically what you will have here is these resources, APPDELEGATE adapter, all of that stuff, but we will go through them inside our project. You will just need to drag and drop them into your project. So right over here, we have our SwiftUI app, APPDELEGATE app adapter. We will see that later on, an async promise helper file, auth view and content view, because we want to switch between those two when we are authenticating. And then, of course, the content view model, because we don't want to clutter our content view with logout logic. Okay, so let's just jump right into it, and let me just copy out on my bundle identifier, and let's create a project in the Firebase console. Let's just tap on plus right over there, and I'm just pasting that bundle identifier, but I'm just giving it a proper name. I'm not enabling Google Analytics for now because this is just a dummy project. So what we are going to do is sign in with Apple with Firebase. So for that, I have created an open source GitHub repository. It is called Firebase Service, and we are going to use the authentication part of it. There's a lot more, but we are going to use the authentication part for it. So now let's just click on continue right over here. And before we add Firebase Service to our project, let's just create an iOS application right over there. Let's paste our bundle identifier again. Click on continue to register, and we are going to download the config plist file. There we go, GOOGLESERVICE-INFO.PLIST. Just clicking on it will download it. And what you need to do is just drag and drop it into the root folder of your project. So again, let's just drag and drop it right over there. And as you can see, I have downloaded quite a lot of info.plist files, Google Service info.plist files. So what you want to do, if that is your case, just rename it to Google Service info.plist file. Okay, now that we have linked that, let's see what's the next step. The next step is to add the Firebase iOS SDK. And you want to also add here the Firebase Auth submodule for that. So Firebase storage, the open source GitHub repository that I have created, already will fetch those for you. So now it's time to add Firebase storage right in there. Let's just go to package dependencies, click on a plus right over there. Let's just search for that. So Firebase service. Of course, you will not have it, but here's the link. It's at github.com/rebeloper/Firebase service. Go ahead and copy out the link from there. And what you want to do is make sure that you are up to next major version to have the latest version available. Okay, let's add the package right over there until this loads, because it's going to fetch all of the Firebase iOS SDKs needed and all of that stuff. So let me just talk about how authentication works. Actually, it's a listener. So it's not like you sign in and get back a callback and then you present the other view, let's say the content view. No, it's like listening. So you set up a listener, and whenever that listener is triggered, you will present either the auth view or the content view. And there's another thing when we don't have any data just yet, but we will get to the code soon enough. So we are kind of listening to these auth states and act accordingly on our UI. We are going to present the auth view if we are not logged in, and the content view if we are. So let's add a package right over there, and you will see there, here we will be populated with quite a lot of stuff. So let's hit Command B, because building this out will take a while, and while we are doing it, we can just move forward with our setup. Okay, let's just go back to Safari, let's click on Next, and now we want to add Firebase app.configure into the application did finish launching with options. Of course, in a SwiftUI app, we don't have that. So what I will do is create an application delegate adapter. So there we go. We already have it right over there. Basically, it's an NS object with UI application delegate, and then you have available the application did finish launching with options delegate method. I'm just going to paste that in there, and also import Firebase for that. There we go. If we imported Firebase, we should be able to have the configure function available. Build has succeeded, which is really, really nice. Okay, and what we want to do now is just initialize this app delegate adapter, and that's just simply one single line of code inside the app file. Go ahead and create a UI application delegate adapter, and that would have the app delegate that we have just created with .self, and let's just name it var app delegate. I will just hide the minimap. We don't need the minimap right over here. Okay, so now that we have our app delegate initialized, Firebase will launch. So maybe let's just build and run this so we can see that everything works, and indeed we are building on our phone. So let's see that right over here. It's just the old page right over here. Just disregard this. It should automatically override it. There we go. And yeah, we are presented the content view, because yeah, on the window group we have our content view. So what we want to do is just go ahead and move on to the next step, continue to console, and yeah, now we have our iOS app created. Now it's time to set up an authentication, and we are going to set up only sign in with Apple. That's the simplest one, by the way. Just click on Apple and enable it. You don't have to worry about all of this stuff, because we are not going to use web sign in with Apple. It's just simply iOS sign in with Apple, and that's it. That's all you have to do inside the Firebase dashboard. Okay, so now what we want to do is for somehow to find out if we are authenticated or not. And this is where actually Firebase service comes into play. So we are going to use we are going to import Firebase service. Again, this is a free GitHub repository that you can add as a Swift package. And once you do that, let me just have a little bit more space right over here. You want to create an auth state, and that will be a private state object, auth state, and the type would be auth state. There we go. Now, this auth state is really, really interesting because it has a value, and according to that value, we will be presenting the content view, the auth view, and a progress view. You will see why in just a second. So let's just switch through those. I'm just going to remove the content view and just switch auth state dot value. And hopefully XCODE will yell at us that, okay, switch must be exhausted, but of course, it's just trying to insert the default. So I do know the cases, and there are 3 cases right over here. First one is undefined, and the undefined case will be when we are still waiting for the servers, the Google servers, Firebase servers, to let us know if we are authenticated or not authenticated. This will take usually a fraction of a second, but still, you don't want to present either or the auth page or the content view, auth view or the content view. So let's have a progress view right over here. So yeah, we are doing some stuff under the hood. The case of, let's say, authenticated, we are going to present our content view. And because I do know that we do need the navigation bar, I'm just going to add this right over here inside the navigation view. Really great. Okay, next up, finally, we have the case of not authenticated. And in this case, we are going to present the auth view. And it is that simple. Now, according to our authentication state, we are going to present any of these three views. So now if I build and run, of course, because we are not logged in just yet, we should be presented with our auth view and not the content view as we did previously. There we go. We have that nice logo of a pizza. And that's it for our Firebase Auth SwiftUI app, the setup inside the app. Now, what we want to do is just go ahead and add our button inside the auth view. So let me just move these out of the way, stop our project, and let's go to our auth view. We don't need a canvas. So first thing first, we want to import Firebase service. Okay, so next up, we want to add in a button below that spacer, so all the way down, as you already saw from the demo project. So this couldn't be easier. It's just simply using the Firebase sign in with Apple button. This is not the sign in with Apple button that already SwiftUI has. It's the Firebase sign in with Apple button. And there you go. You can have a little bit of customization. For example, the label. Let's just hit continue. You can have sign in or sign up. It depends on you. And requested scopes, I'm going to delete these and use the default ones. And that is email and name. If you want to, you can just limit to either of those. Now, on completion, we are going to get back here a result. Let me just have some more space over here. So we are going to have back a result with an option. It could be an error or a Firebase sign-in with Apple results. So let's just have this as a result. And now we are going to go through those results with a switch statement, switch result. And hopefully now XCODE will complete with a case of success and failure, so I don't have to type that out myself. There we go. And on the success, we are going to have a result. So let a result. Now this isn't the same result that we have right over here. And also we are going to have an error. And as you already see, I have prepared some nice functions that I will uncomment right now. This result that we are going to get back is a Firebase sign-in with Apple result. So let's just use that. So handle self.handle, because we are inside actually a completion handler, and we are going to pass on that result. And here we are going to pass on our error. Okay, so for the error, we are just simply going to print it out for now. You could just present this inside an alert if you choose to. But for now, let's just print out our errors localized description. Now here comes the interesting part. At this point, we are already signed in and you don't have to worry about changing the UI. It will be done automatically for you. But you might be going forward, and this is out of scope of this tutorial, but you might be going forward and saving what you got from that result into your database, namely the UI, first name and last name. So let's take a look at where that UI is. So let's have a UI ID, so not the UI, the UID equals the results UID. Now with this UID, you could just create a new profile on the Firestore database, which is really, really handy. Also, you can grab the first name. There we go. First name equals, and this will be a little bit longer. So we just go result.token.applecredential.first full name dot given name, and this is an optional. As you can see, if it's not there, we are just going to have an empty string. Now this first name and of course the last name will be given to you only on its first authentication. Now why is that? Well, because on the first authentication we are asked to give our name for from that sheet, and here we are going to have our family name. There we go. So the next time we are authenticating, we are not going to be asked to give our name, just do you want to continue, and that's it. Therefore, this first and last name will be not available for us. So what you want to make sure is to just save this on the very first authentication. So let's just print out our UID there, and I'm just go ahead and also print out our first name and last name. Okay, so let's build and run and see if we have broken anything at this point, and maybe we should be able to see our Firebase sign in with Apple button. Let's just see that. There we go. And there are some issues. We have this large continue with Apple button. Now that of course can be easily set up. Let's just add in here a frame. Usually the frame of the with a height, let's say 50 would be great. Now you could just add a width of about maybe 200, but setting up this kind of width is not really recommended inside SwiftUI's UI. So let's just add a simple padding right over here. Let's build and run again, and now we should see this really nicely. Okay, let's just wait to build and run. And there we go. We have a continue with Apple button. And if we tap on right over here, yeah, we will not be doing anything. And I always forget this. Make sure you don't forget this. You will have this error message like authorization failed. Yeah, it's quite encrypted, but because I have this done so many times, I do know what's the problem here. What you want to do is go into your target and signing in capabilities and add the sign in with Apple capabilities. So sign in with Apple, just double click on there, and now you will have the availability to use sign in with Apple. So again, let's build and run. There we go. Let's see that right over there. And let's just wait for that. Yeah, unable to install. You want to delete the app from your device. Let's just do that. So let's just delete this from our device. Delete app, delete. There we go. And let's build and run again. And hopefully we will be able to launch this. There we go. We have our app continue with Apple, tapping on that, and as you can see now it's asking for our name. Let's cancel out for now and close this. I will just move this app to where it needs to be. Done. Okay, so yeah, now we have that simple sign in with Apple button. That there's more. I want to make sure that you can customize this to your needs. So let's go back to the auth view, and let me just go ahead and give you a special button. So this is the standard sign in with Apple button used, of course, with Firebase. But I don't want to use this. Let's just comment this out. Actually, what I want to use, and as you can see, we still have some empty functions right over here. What I want to use is my very own button. So let's just create a button right over here, and let's just have an action and a label, and like that. So let's have a little bit more room right over here. The action, of course, will be authenticate. And the label, well, let's just create a label right over here. So this could you can just customize it to your own needs. I'm just going to use title and icon. For the title, let's just have a text of maybe authenticate with Apple. And for the icon, let's have an image of system name, there we go. And I believe it's Apple logo. So now what we want to do is use the authentication part of sign in with Apple, not just the button, but the whole authentication. For that, you just want to import a state object, so private state object, and Apple service. So you will be able to use this Apple service, and it's called Firebase Sign In with Apple service. I know it's a long one, but it is what it's called like. So now we can just simply, under the authenticate function, we can just use that Apple service, and it has only one function, sign in. And the onComplete has a result, the onFailed has an error. So let's just use result. There we go, result, and then we have our error. And again, we just go handle, let's see, handle Apple service success with our result, and then we can handle our Apple service error with that error. And it's that easy. Now we can just simply, let's just add in here maybe a button style, a button style of bordered prominent, and for the label, let's have a foreground color of white, maybe foreground color dot white. Okay, so now we have our very own custom looking sign in with Apple and with Firebase button. There we go, authenticate with Apple. Okay, so now it's time to actually do the stuff. Let's just authenticate. Let's tap on authenticate with Apple. I'm just going to hide my email so you can then see it, that it's actually hidden on the Firebase database, not the database, the authentication part. So let's continue right over here, signing, done. There we go. And now we have switched back. And please note that we have printed out my UID, the name, first name and the last name that I have provided. Okay, so now we are in. Let's just see if we just build and run again. Let's see if we will be in again. Yeah, we are also in. And as you can see, we just initialized and it's working marvelously. Let's take a look at our authentication part and users. There we go. We have a new authenticated user with this UID, which is, if you recall, the same UID that we had right over there. Great. So what we want to do now is log out. So what we want to do is create our logout logic, and that is, I will just add it into the content view model, because this logout, and as you can see, it's asynchronously, it's really modern with async throws. This logout functionality will be called on the content view's logout button. So what we want to do, again, just import Firebase service, and then we are going to use, first of all, we are going to create a promise, and then we are going to use this async promise file that we have created. We just drag and dropped in. So finally, we got to that also. So let's have some room here. Let's create our promise, and it's really straightforward. So auth service dot logout, and again, this is from Firebase service. It's making our lives really easy. And finally, we want to try await async promise dot fulfill that promise in the cancelables, and as you can see, I already created a set of any cancelable, so I can just use it right over here. Now it's time to use this logout on our content view. So let's just go into the content view right over here on the do catch statement of the toolbars button. We just go and try. Oh, first of all, we do want to make sure that we do have our view model. I just add it in here because I do know that it's here. So we just go try await, and then our view model dot and logout. And that's it. Let's just see how this looks like. Build and run. And now we should be able to log out. Yeah, okay, we are logged in. Tapping on logout, we are logged out. Now let's tap again on the authenticate with Apple. Continue. There we go, we are done. And it's automatically switching to our content view. Please note that now our first and last name aren't printed out. Actually, 2 empty strings are printed out in the console because, yeah, we are not getting that. So now it's time to pick a winner from the previous video that I have published. And if you don't already know, all you have to do is like, share, and comment on my videos, and you will get a chance to meet me. I will pick one winner to meet me on a mentoring session, a 60-minute Zoom call personally with me. Now, let me just copy out this link and go right over here, paste it in there, fetching all of the comments. Let's continue. And now let's pick a winner. There we go. And we have, well, actually, I cannot read out your name, but please do contact me at support@rebeloper.com with your actual email that you have made your comment with. And yeah, if you do want to have a mentoring session, go ahead and check out rebeloper.com/mentoring. And if you do know how, and if you do want to know how to think like a programmer, go ahead and check it out right over here.